Hi, I'm Melissa Krieger with Do Yoga With Me. This practice will focus on twists. You'll need 2 blocks. I would suggest these chunky blocks or these bricks because they're pretty solid. There will be a short Shavasana, but you're welcome to stay longer if you'd like to. Enjoy. For today's practice, we'll begin on our backs. Set yourself up however you're comfortable. You might close your eyes and starting to connect with your breath. Do your scan. Notice how you are. Physical body, energy level, mental state, the emotions that are hanging out a little closer to the surface. And they're all welcome. It's all good. Start to lengthen out that exhale. Gradually waking up the deep core. So exhaling all the way out. Noticing at the very bottom of that exhale, there's that little bit of a contraction through the belly. And adding on to that, when you exhale, drawing back at the low belly, pulling up at your pelvic floor. Inhaling to let it all go, get a good breath in. And then exhaling to reconnect. Take your feet as wide as your mat with your knees bent. Arms can be stretched out. Let the legs drop a little bit from side to side, those windshield wiper legs. Today's practice, we'll be focusing on twists. There's lots of different ways that we can twist, lots of different positions we can take. And twists are neat because they help to release the entire spine. And usually there's a good shoulder and a hip component there as well. And some of the twists we do today, they'll be both. We'll be releasing the spine, the hips, and the shoulders. Come on back through to center, please. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, coming into that basic glute stretch, and then figure out where you need to be, where that back foot needs to hang out for the sensation that you're after. So some of the poses that we're doing today, there's a big stretch through the side of the thigh. So a little bit of preparation like we're doing now will help for later. One more breath. Bring that back foot down to the floor. Now cross that same leg over tighter. So now you're knee over knee, this reclined cow face. And then draw your legs back in and grab where you can. So maybe it's thighs, knees, shins, whatever you can get. Two more breaths. Bring the legs down, cross the other way. So starting that wider one, ankle over the thigh. And then lowering that back leg to the floor, cross that top leg over tighter, pull back in. Uncross your legs. Bring both feet down to the floor. Have the feet quite close together, legs quite close together. Arms teed out, palms face down. Big exhale, wake up your core, and then the legs are dropping from side to side here. So similar to windshield wipers, but with your legs a little closer together like this, the twist is a little bit stronger. And if it feels like it's too much for whatever reason, go wide again. Bring your legs back through to center. Now cross one leg over the other and cross tight. So this is a little bit more intense for your hips. It may or may not be a good fit. If it isn't, uncross your legs again. Try that a couple times to each side. The other option is that you could go back to that cow face that we did before, where the legs were crossed over like this, but you were drawing the legs in. So eliminating the twist if you need to. Come on back through to center. Cross your legs the other way. So the back foot is staying on the floor, kind of giving a little bit of guidance from side to side. And the hands, they're staying on the floor too. You're pushing down into the floor. Got those internal connections with your breath. And you're trying to draw back at your low belly, pull up at your pelvic floor. Bring yourself back through to center. Uncross your legs. A little bit of space in between your feet, arms down beside you. So we're getting set up for bridges. Big exhale, wake up your core. Push your feet down and lift your hips up and lower back down again. Now you might add your arms, pushing the feet down, lifting the hips, lifting the arms, reaching up and back, and then lowering. As you keep doing this, remember that cue that I used before. Pretend like there's a block in between your knees and you're giving it a bit of a squeeze, and like there's a strap looped around your thighs and you're pushing against it. So this tension in your legs, keep your knees pointed right up towards the ceiling, and you can even look at your knees and see that that is indeed happening. All your feet, both of your feet, and all your toes are pushing down. Lower back down again. Let's move on. So roll over to your side or rock up and down a few times. And come up and into all fours. Head back into child's pose for a few breaths, just to give your back a little bit of a release. Come up into all fours. Take a few cat-cow curls. Arching and rounding. Come back through to center. Focusing on twisting a little bit more, a bit of a rotation through the back now. You can keep your right hand on the floor, and your left hand can just come to kind of rest on the side of your head. So your elbow points out to the side. Take an inhale, rotate the torso up, and then exhale, rotate down. Do that twice more. Last one. Back to all fours. The other hand comes out to the side, elbow pokes out, inhale, reach up, twist up. Exhale, pull through. Again. Last one. Come back through to center. You might head up towards downward dog, hands a little forward, a little bit wider, tuck the toes, pushing up and back. One more round of breath. Coming into a lunge with your right leg forward, you can either drop your knees and step your right foot forward, or from that downward dog, just stepping the right foot forward, whatever makes more sense. Lift up your back knee if it was down, front knee and ankle in the same line. Round of breath. You do have two blocks, so if the floor feels too far away, you can also have those blocks underneath your hands. You'll keep your left hand on the floor or on a block. You'll bring your right hand, more specifically your thumb, into your hip crease. Pull your hip back, twisting towards the long side of the mat. Maybe that arm reaches up if the shoulder's okay with it. Round of breath. Lower that arm down. Step back to downward dog or all fours Take one round of breath. Either down to your knees and step your left foot forward, or just step your left foot forward. Lift up your back knee if it was down. The right hand will stay on the floor or on the block. Left thumb, left hip, pull back. Notice how that helps you twist. The arm reaching up, if the shoulder's okay with it, it doesn't actually help you twist anymore. So if it's not a good fit to raise the arm, don't worry about it. Lower that arm down, please. Step your front foot back. Downward dog, round of breath. And then make your way up to a standing forward fold. So the feet can come up towards the hands. Get some length in the spine, come up about halfway. Exhale and fold back down again. And roll up. The hands could walk up the legs. Head comes up last. Roll the shoulders back a few times or circle the arms back. Grab your blocks. I'd suggest having them up high and up on either side of your mat, and then you can grab them when you need them. Have a little bit of space between your feet. You'll be shifting your weight over towards your left foot. Here's a sneaky little balance. Raise that right knee up, round of breath. Stepping back for warrior one. This is where the back toes point forward, so the hips can point forward. Bend into the front knee, stretch your arms up. You can look wherever it feels the best for your stability. I'm not too fussed about your arms. I think it's more important that your shoulders are relaxed. So if your elbows need to bend and your arms are in this kind of U shape, I think that works really well. So whatever feels the best for you. Round of breath. Shifting this into pyramid pose. I like this distance between my feet. If it feels like it's too much for you, you can shorten your stance. You'll straighten your front leg, bring your hands to your hips, pull your hips back behind you, tipping forward and grabbing a hold of these blocks and then bringing them in as close as you need them. So I like them basically right underneath my shoulders and really high. And then I'm trying to create all this length through my body. So I'm reaching out through my spine, top of the head forward, tailbone back behind me. Trying to keep that back heel rooted, round a breath. Take your right hand, walk that block in that hand a little higher up and a little bit over towards its own side. So we're coming into revolved pyramid pose, putting a lot of the different elements that we've done already into one big shape. You'll shift your weight into that right hand and your left hand can come to your left hip. Like we did before, kind of digging into the hip, pulling back, squeezing the legs together, twisting towards the long side of the mat. So lots happening here. Maybe that hand stays there on your hip or maybe that arm stretches up. But remember, it's all about if it's safe for your shoulder or not. If it isn't, don't worry about it. Squeeze the legs together like they were scissors, pulling towards the center line. Twisting a little bit more, maybe even peeking up to that top hand, round a breath. Lower that arm down. Step your back foot forward so your feet are beside each other and have a bit of a breather. So maybe that means you're in a forward fold. Maybe you crouch down for a squat, or maybe you come up to standing. If you're crouched down, come back to a forward fold. Bring your hands to your shins, come up about halfway, lengthen. Exhale and fold. This time lift up, push your feet into the floor, stretch your arms, reach up towards the ceiling. Hands to prayer. Pause for breath. Second side, release your hands. Shift your weight over towards your right foot. Bring up the left knee, take a round of breath. Step that leg back behind you. So this little bit of space in between your feet is going to be helpful. So you're not as wide as your mat, but you're certainly not on a tightrope. A little bit of room will help you in all the next poses. Bend into the front knee, stretch the arms up. Keep trying to root that back heel down as best as you can. You might find you get a nice strong stretch through that back calf. 2 breaths. Straighten your front leg. Bring your hands to your hips. Pull your hips back behind you, coming into your pyramid pose. Make adjustments in your feet and your stance if you need to. You want both feet firmly down. So lots of connection because it is a little bit of a balance, right? Especially when we start to twist. Here you can feel how your front hip kind of shifts over towards its own side. So squeeze the legs in towards each other and that should help even out your hips. Adding that twist, so the left hand with the block goes up a little higher, up a little bit to the left. Shift your weight into that hand. The right hand comes to the right hip. Pull into that hip, twist, lengthen your torso. Lots of stretch to the side thigh. That's why we did some of those side stretches before on our back. Maybe that arm stretches up towards the sky. Lengthen out in all directions. 2 breaths. Lower that arm down. Step your back foot forward. The blocks can just go off to the side. Relax into a forward fold. Come up halfway and flatten your back. And fold back down again. Make your way right into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Let's get into that mid back a little bit more. So thread the needle. You can stay kind of low, taking your right arm and reach it under your armpit. Turn your head in the same direction as that hand. If the floor is too far away, use the block to support your head. 3 breaths here. Change sides. Slide the arm under and breathe. Release the arm. Make your way up to your seat. You might want to sit up on one of your blocks. See what your knee prefers with the bottom leg, with that right leg. Maybe that leg is straight, or maybe that leg can bend. And the knee points as forward as possible. And if your knee doesn't like this, just go ahead and straighten it again. And then that top leg, that left leg, comes up and over. Both hands can come to that front shin. Get up a little taller, take an inhale, and then exhaling to twist over towards the left. You might give the knee a squeeze or cross the arms over. And then the back hand may be back behind you. 3 breaths. And twist. Changing sides, it might be different on the second side. Maybe the bottom leg wants to be straight. Maybe it's okay to tuck in. It is okay regardless. It just depends on what you like the best. Get that height. Big exhale, that helps you twist a little bit. Exhaling to twist. And look over your back shoulder. Release the twist. Uncross your legs. And make your way on towards your back. Have your feet flat and your knees bent. Stretch your arms out. Shift your hips a little bit towards the left. Option to cross your left leg over the right like we did a couple times before on that twist. And now your knees can fall over towards the right side. So it's a little bit twistier here. If the floor feels too far away or it feels like you need a little bit more support, you could twist onto those blocks because you do still want to let that left shoulder be open and that shoulder blade dropping down. And sometimes the leg support will help you get that. 2 more breaths. Look up if you were looking away. Push your arms down into the ground. Bring your legs back through to center. Uncross your legs. Even out your hips. Shifting over towards the right. Maybe that right leg wants to cross over. And then dropping the knees down to the left. Maybe with some support. Nice and heavy through that right shoulder blade. And stretch out these next few breaths. Turn the head upwards, push the arms down, bring the legs back through to center, uncross your legs. And we'll come to rest in a short Shavasana, but you're welcome to stay longer if you'd like. Your knees can be bent or straight. Letting yourself drop down into the support of the floor. And stay and rest. Remember, you are welcome to stay as long as you need to in your Shavasana. If you're okay to move on, you can start to deepen your breath. Move your fingers on your toes. Maybe nod the head from side to side. Go for a big stretch, a big yawn. Bend your knees. You can roll over to your side. And then pushing yourself up. Coming to any comfortable seated position with or without support. Close your eyes. Bring your hands to prayer. Bow your head. Notice how you feel. Thank yourself for showing up. And thank your body for all its hard work. Open your eyes. Lift your gaze. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.